So if everybody's hurt, then the police, that was about 1% reporting at the police station. 1 every 100. And you go there and you get stuck for 1, 2, 3 days. You are the only one, no radio. You may have a car. If you start using your cars, within a day or so, you run out of fuel. Martial law was established from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And also they were established that a canister of 8 gallons of fuel was going to be delivered per person. At least per person. So that means that if you are a family of 4 and 2 adults goes for the gasoline, making 12 hours or 8 hours line, you will get 10 gallons of gasoline. But remember, the whole power system, if grid is down, now you're transferring all the required energy that you need for your house by power generators into gasoline, diesel, or propane. So that would create a more worse situation on fuel, because now you're burning the electricity on gasoline, propane, or diesel. Also affecting the drivers to get diesel into the truck so they can start working the machinery. So there were priorities at a certain point to give diesel to the truck so they can go to the port and distribute the goods, the required goods, all over the island. This is probably the time that I would talk about it. During the Hurricane Maria, 20th of September, we were 3.2 million citizens. 3.2 million citizens. Today, we have 2.2 million. And who can fly away? People that have professionals, that have a title, that have credentials, and can find a job somewhere else. All right? Because you want to start all over, but you want to be assured that you don't get hit within the next 8 months or a year. And by the way, the hurricane season in Puerto Rico is very quiet. I came to Hawaii and I brought my hurricane with me, and I think there are already 3 online. So I'm giving them a break. So, but Joe is going to send me on the 1st of September, doesn't matter what. So no traffic lights, that's the best part of it. You don't have many over here of traffic lights, but in the metropolitan area where I live, that was a blessing. Anyway, no street illumination, blocked roads, 18 main bridge, they were collapsed. So now you have to have the tours, and you know that you can bring up a bridge within 1 to 3 months, even if you put a military bridge. So by not having the food chain distribution, no electricity, and limited products, this gets complicated. Because if you don't have electricity for 2, 3, 4 days in the supermarket, what would happen to the frozen stuff? Also in your house. But you will take care of it, you will burn it, you will cook it, right? You have the best meal ever. The rice and the grains, I don't need to take it away. But I wanted to stop the generator because I was spending at that time about 3 gallons a day. And right now, at the end of the emergency, I was burning 1 gallon per day by putting LED lamps that I have in stock. The fridge was a modern inverter fridge, so it runs under 100 watts. So I went to my house after working at the Red Cross and FEMA and turned on the power generator, and I can tell it was turning on about 10 light bulbs at 4 watts per light bulb. It was producing the equivalent of 60-watt light bulb. So my house looks like an airport compared to the other ones. I wanted some life, some relief of the situation. So everybody would try to create his own bubble of survival. And this is something important. You want to take care of your families. And this is very important. So we talk about the food that gets rotten, but you're not getting more food into the supermarket. Anyway, we already talked about the fuel chain distribution. Drivers were not going out, they didn't have enough diesel, they were taking care of the family. The tap water, we had about 10% running. And in my experience, something came flying and break a pipe into the PVC cistern, and it just leaked. And from 600 gallons, I ended for about 100 gallons. So I fixed it, and about day number 2 or day number 3, they turned on the power generator of the water pump, and I was able to get about 300 gallons or 400 gallons back. Because then they found out that they didn't have the full tank, so within hours, it shut down and stays down. So, and then who's going to refill that tank of diesel, of the power, when they have higher priorities? So that took about 4 weeks to bring it back. But with 300 gallons, I was able to run for about 70 days without any problem. Now, personally, it took 144 days to get electricity into my house. And of course, 10 days, 2 weeks completely shut down. I saw the first light on the metropolitan area when they turned on the very first generator. They brought power to the city. There are hospitals to take care. Priority, whoever's on that line, and the lines are on the ground and safe, they will bring it up. And they have to start working and try, as a good management, bring back the highest number of people, citizens, electricity into the with the shortest time. So that will be, of course, the metropolitan area. They're sending I remember the governor saying, we're sending the majority of the workers to the inside the island, to the different farther places to fix it, but it doesn't matter what, that one takes more time to be fixed. So if you go to the city and you have underground lines and you bring power, and they check out your lines that they're on the ground, as soon as they bring it up, a large density of population will get power. And remember, numbers are important, that things are getting better. Okay, small business. So by not having money and not running the small business, anybody who works into the small business, after 2 to 3 weeks, they are laid out. That worsens the conditions. And if we go move forward, I always said that I have to move this one. So by having 98% of no communications on the island, no internet, no cell phone, a few copper lines with telephone, the old style, they survive, especially the ones that they are on the ground. But if somebody find a cell site working, this was about 500 cars on the highway from both sides, people stopping, trying to get in contact. Perfect. They were looking for internet to send the pictures. I got an island here, I was 2 days ago, that they told me that they got a fire and their telephone system collapsed. Why? Because everybody was sending pictures on their Facebook to their family and friends, and very fast the system collapsed without any emergency. And these things happen, and we're going to keep talking about how they get congested and worsen the things, especially emergency communication. We will address that part. So they were having G2, which is the flip phone. You have your telephone, you can set it up non-LTE, so it will go to G2. That will work better in an emergency than the LTE and internet. So I had seen many people who did the Department of Defense that they carry flip phones. Good quality still, but those are more stable. And you are able to send text message. That's a blessing. Text message is very small packet. As you know about packet, small string. You can take it out of the impacted area, contact your family, and if they answer you back, you will get the answer back. And it's coming to your telephone. But you have to be in this place only. Maybe 15, 20 miles away from your house. So you cannot call from your living room, kitchen, or your porch outside your house because there's no communication. What about to tell you that only one TV station survived and one AM station survived because all others were wiped out? Why? This is an example. This is a 1.5 feet of coax, of waveguide. This tower was a twin tower, the other station survived, about half a mile away, 1,050 feet tall. It should withstand the wind, but it got a micro tornado that got into the guy wires, into the tower, twisted it, and that's the end of the story. And you know that would happen. It doesn't need much once it's twisted. Then it will collapse. So, and why you know that it was a micro tornado in the hurricane? Because you can see that the ground, there are no trees. It's completely on earth. And you see how it bends and this and that, and you see the guy wire, and then you see it going into the tower. And there are pictures that have been shown for me, and the insurance was asking, oh, maintenance, rusty, guy wires, you know, insurance. But they have to give up because that's also the evidence of the micro tornado. The other towers survived, and they're the same tower in two stations within half a mile one to the other one due to the height of it. Oh, I have to come back. And then when you go to the hills and the mountains, and these are forests with thousands and thousands of trees, how you get there? You have walk for 10, 15 miles, and also slides of mud and gravel cutting the road completely out. So these stations, the only way to get there was by helicopter, by the Navy, actually, and the Army, taking generators, transmitters, antennas, personnel for the 85 infantry tower climbers to put the infrastructure of communications so the government can contact the citizens. The NOAA station and the airport radar, what was left was the concrete on the base. So we have a new radar now, but it took 3 months by FEMA, and FEMA respond. And they brought the best equipment in the fastest way with the best engineers and pouring the money, taking things by helicopter to put it back because no radar, another hurricane can come. NOAA is a station that you expect to be working 24/7, 365 days a year, right? Also, you need the radars for having the airports operational. Without radars, nobody have access during nighttime. Only can land during daytime only. So remember, you want to put all this infrastructure back into business. So I can assure you that this is a beautiful set of microwave antennas set up into one on the mountains, and then if you lose one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, you lose the whole interconnectivity. Your backbone. They were bulletproof, and whoever works here in microwave, they are bulletproof. Why? Because it happens to be that people shoot at them. So they don't fail if you get a Magnum 357 into it, but they were not protected. I mean, I show you already. The antennas survive, but they're not aligned properly. What about the shelters? If a tower falls on top of the shelter and breaks the roof, all the equipment gets wet. Guess what? What will happen from then on? And I'm going to add something about generators. Whoever survived also got into problems. So FEMA, hands on the hill, needed to put this one, and you see they look alike because those are the principal high hills to cover the island. This particular one took 90 days to put it operational. They don't have power, and they will not have power within the next 2 years. So FEMA is dropping their generators as needed. It's dropping their bladders of diesel. And now the road is open, and I was able to go in my Jeep up there and visit one of the facilities. And it's actually exotic. You go into the highway, 65 miles, then you go into up the hill, El Yunque National Forest is cleared out, and they have been working. And then once you pass security that they don't allow people, we were allowed to continue, then it becomes with the big holes and the cut of water on the road, and they're also trying to fix it, but again, with rain still coming, and the terrain being banged by the wind and 50 inches of water, it does soften the ground, and that makes the slides. But the slide doesn't start at the moment that the rain stops. You can have them months later. So you have to be aware of those things. So these are the facility and hospital distribution across the island. We have about 300. These are only the main ones. My assistant section emergency coordinator of the hospital, he drew this map. And I told him, we can get you the GIS map. But he needed it on the spot, so one night he did it. So I used that one. So what about hospital? They were flooded, room damaged by water, no AC. What would happen within hours of no AC? It's going to get full of fungus because the spores are already into the rooms. So what about electricity? Great. They have a power generator to run the main infrastructure. How old is the generator on the hospital?
50 years.
Let's say 20 to 30 years, typical hospital. How long this generator can run? 1 week?
Yeah.
2 weeks? With a 30-year-old radiator? It will fail, you know that.
Sure.
It wasn't broken. I'm not saying that they didn't do maintenance of the generator, just simply that these generators are not made to run 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, we have a lot, and this is what the amateurs were doing. One generator failed, the other one is, they're fixing it with the parts of the other one, of the first one. We need help. We don't have diesel, 10,000 gallons are gone. You will run about 400, 800 gallons per day. It's failing. So we got that message and we sent it to the GFO, Joint Force Operations Center. I will show you the GFO soon. And I will show you how many people was working there. And the response. But it doesn't matter. Everything takes time. And in a priority, you make also a queue because everybody needs things for yesterday. Okay, so this was brought by helicopter from the Marines. We have a U.S. aircraft carrier with all the armed forces and MPs, and they were brought there with the Corps of Engineers connecting these generators, giving the generators engineering, cables, diesel, parts, water, medicine to the hospital for free. Because you have to attend your clients, the victims. But does a hospital knows that he has a 20-year generator?
They should.
They should, but it's working perfectly every week.
That's what they're making an assumption.
That's only tested once a week.
Yeah.
And they take it, I don't want to go into story because you have your own experience.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah. So senior care facilities. Without electricity, no generator. What about how you treat your patients? There were reports of loss of water and diesel and generators out of the senior care facilities.
Oh, yeah.
Desperation. I'm going to bring that up. Desperation of the citizen. And I'm going to bring that up why it became so desperate. In some cases, the administration went back to work because they were affected as well. You can have the nurse or the doctor or the administrator that happens to be that he has no house anymore. And you know that in every training that you get, the first thing that you have to take care is your family. That's very clear. Dialysis treatment, how this works. The drivers, they have to remember the address of their patients to bring it into the dialysis center. No new dialysis patients can be delivered because the hospital are not doing that treatment. So that introduced new factors. And they did their best to bring everybody. With the limited communication with hospital, not being able to bring out your record. Okay, you go to the doctor, he would open the computer, he would open a tablet. What about if you have no internet? You don't get your blood test, or CT scan, or MRI, or whatever you need. Because it's in the main server. You have no communications. Please tell me what's going on with you. Medical supplies, not available for about 3 to 4 weeks. And this is very important. This is when you guys need to help. This is when everybody here have to be part of the team. Because if you cannot go out of your house, but you go in the morning and in the afternoon, even by bicycle, walk into the hospital, ask them, what do you need? Oh, I need this, 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 this. I have a way I can send this message properly to the proper authorities. Don't worry who they are. You have to send the message. The emergency center, or the FEMA channels, or through ARES, or to, you name it, races, you have to send that message. You become runner, and you are eyes and ears of the community. This is when we need your help. The most needed help. Also, the mayor may have needs. He may need a generator to the care facility of senior citizens. He may need food. Even bring additional food to the people who's working with him. Because if he cannot have food to the workers, how they can come back to work tomorrow? Even get money for paying the salary of these people who's working through the emergency. And I'm going to address that very soon. So I'm telling you in advance what are the problems that you need to attend. So more than 300 hospital facilities needed communications, and most needed whatever they need, even doctors. Or even transferring patients from the hospital to another hospital. Or if you have I think it's called here the Mercy, in the Atlanta it's called the Comfort. Similar chip. You know about it. And if you are a doctor, you work in the hospital administration, you're going to send all your patients to the medical center with their clock already. They're full of patients over there, I'm sure, across all the hall, in every chair, occupied. You have critical people, send it to the ship. They have only 250 beds, yes, but they have 250 beds per day. Because the helicopter comes, they evaluate it, they can be sent to the carrier or sent immediately to the States, depending on the level of needs. You're saving lives. So you have to be agile and understand the situation. Those are protocols that they were not established in Puerto Rico, and the governor even accepted it yesterday and today. Educational system, I told you already, we were closed for about 60 days. The public education system started to work. The university started to work 70 days. Why? And I knew that because that happened during Hurricane Hugo. The university itself drains about the electricity of the whole San Juan city. Buildings, research, taking care of the books, and that's the swimming pool. I mean, it takes the electricity of a city. So you put electricity into the university, or you give the electricity to the citizen. You know what is the answer. I don't have to go through it. So I have free time, so I can go into the GFO and the DRO from the Red Cross. Now, what about 3.2 million people that the banking system was completely collapsed and closed for 3 weeks? Whatever you have today in your pocket that you prepare, the ATM and banks are closed for 3 weeks. And I make scare the people. Hey, guys, I'm not talking to you to make you scared. I want you to be aware. So you can deal with it properly. Don't put all the money into your pocket, into your purse. Have small bills so you can make deals. A quart of gas of oil instead of $10 was $25. And you say, no, that's too expensive. Then your neighbor buy it for you. Not for you, he needed it also. So this is not the price of the stores, of the auto part, or the gas station. That's not what I'm talking about. These are the people who had it, and now they're making money out of it because the store is empty. Don't get confused. I'm not saying that the auto parts, whatever brand, is ripping you off. That's not what happened. They don't have any to give you. There's none. It's already gone. So the economy was running for about more than a month in cash only. And for more than 3 months, because there were no telephones or internet, in cash only, no credit cards. Forget about any check. VSAT and satellite phones. So they got congested. At the beginning, we have a low number of VSAT available in the island, and there's also this congestion of how many the satellite can attend. But then suddenly we have 150, and companies send to their subsidiaries to a total of 500. The satellite's not able to handle 500 VSATs. At the beginning, we have about 150 satellite phones. They work great today. You buy a satellite phone, you go outside there, and I know at that time that they were able to get 25 calls at the same time. Now we have 150 satellite phones. So they were not operational, they were not congested. The phone works perfectly, but the satellite cannot handle it. Then suddenly, FEMA brought satellite phones for everybody. I'm not talking about FEMA, don't take it wrong. But also your family will send you a satellite phone by some means, or somebody that comes here that give you the box, and the satellite phone is working over there in the States perfectly, but the satellite cannot handle your bandwidth. Did I mention the story of the fire on Maui? That just by sending pictures, they collapsed the whole telephone system. Exactly, same story. And an HD, and a simplex frequency, or HF, or WinLink. I'm going to stress WinLink because you need the ICS form, understanding, and if you don't know it, and you take the course, and you prepare, you take the course, how to fill out the form. It takes you about 10 minutes to fill out the form, the 213. If you want to prepare better, you take all the courses of it, and also if you want to take care and send those information to the records, you better learn how to fill up the form. They get the message, you give it, and they're going to fill up the protocol. And believe me, they need to fill up the protocol just to deliver these things that is most needed. Don't go there with a paper. Don't go there, I need these materials, without no names. That will not be delivered. And I had heard comments with nice words about it, but we have to find the right protocol. The person in charge had to fill up the computer terminal the proper information. Why? If a doctor, the administrator of the hospital requests 2 generators, 2,000 gallons of diesel, and 100 liters of medicine, how FEMA is going to deliver that medicine? They will check the name, and there's his cell phone number. That cell phone number is not public. It match, it's valid. And within hours, it's going to be delivered by helicopter. But you need to take that message with all the information required. So we need that training. If you're just a runner and you talk to the EOC, you have to have in that paper the information required. Because that's the only means that you have. You became a runner. And the other guy is filling up the form with the required information. So that's when you become an asset. That's when you become part of the system to the relief operation. Emergency planes, it was a delay of 9 days, something that it was requested and signed for next day delivery. 9 days. And this is already the military, Homeland Security, and FEMA. This is information not public. Because everything was next day. So they got the signature, but the planes, remember that we don't have a radar. Planes are not arriving during the night. Now instead of 5 miles, they have to be 50 miles separation. So they have to land. Now the warehouse of the airport, before accepting the manifest that the plane can land, before taking off from the States. And oh, I remember that. Ah, yeah, you live in an island like we do. No trains, no roads. That's interesting. I didn't realize. So, without empty the warehouses, they cannot accept the next plane with the manifest. Doesn't matter who they are. Did I mention that truck drivers were not coming to work? These are things that we have to take care of. So FEMA went to the port and confiscated. They pull out 1,500 containers with very important materials to deliver for the people for free. They will pay them, the owners of the containers. You bet they get paid. Now the owner have to ask for new ones, but you see on the port there's no ship here at all. And it was stopped, the ship, for about 5 to 6 weeks because the Coast Guard have to certify that the port is safe. The currents move all the sediment on the bay, and there were no buoys and no range. Remember we had a hurricane, so that modified things. So and I don't want to make fun out of it, but everything to put things in order takes time, and you have to come the right ship to measure the bottom height and so on. And if they have to clear it, they have to clear it. So there's a whole process to get. So at the end, during this relief operation of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we have in stock 5,400 containers not being delivered. Good materials, mostly required. You have all kind of things. What about hardware store materials? You need a roof, you know. You need panels. You need sealant. There are kind of things that you will need, like nails and screws and all these kind of things that they were on the containers. So, but what about the local radio operators? Us. Destroy the station antennas. You know why I know that? Because I go home and I listen to them for 2-3 hours whining in 40-80 meters that the tower's on the floor. But he's on the air. Why he doesn't move from his house and go to the police department, to the mayor's office, or the hospital? What do you need? Stop whining. Mm-hmm. Be careful. He's emotionally impacted. And the magnitude of the event is a catastrophe level 1. So be careful, because you are hurt. You have a post-traumatic distress syndrome. Financial circumstances, because they have money in their bank, but not in their pocket. It's like not having money. Limited fuel, limited amount of generators, and of course the lack of commercial power. I heard one ham radio operator whining, if the municipality bring the message here, I will transmit it, but my tower is crossing the road from my house across into the neighbor's house. Fine. Work on it, take it away, disassemble it, and clear the road if it's not been done by the municipality already. Things have went right. So I mentioned the Power Authority, and we have a lot of information about it, because they were trying to do the best with what they had. But even doing the best, they had maybe 1% of the requested or required needs. But we provided emergency communication to the infrastructure. And what is the most needed infrastructure to bring out the whole system is electricity. Because if we have electricity, the pumps will start. Then you have electricity for the supermarket, you have electricity for the hospital, you have electricity for the gas stations, and this is important. So we had about 131, 150 stations all across Puerto Rico, what we call the Technical Plaza, which I saw one down the street. When you see these big power lines and the trucks and the engineers are there, they call it in Puerto Rico Technical Plaza. That name came from the legacy before the whole history. Remember, we are growing with the technology of electricity for 3-4 generations now. And by September, I told you it took me 3 days to get out of my house. I went to the Red Cross. I had a memo of understanding with the Red Cross, and I immediately, the FEMA people were not in the island on a center. It was EFO and then GFO. They had the first meeting on the 4th day. I remember that part, and I will tell you why. On the 3rd day, I was in the Red Cross just listening the ham radios that they were already dispatched into the 23 technical plazas in Monacello Control. That's the main switchboard of the power authority where they have all the controls of the power system, so they knew. I visit the place, I get from first hand what are the situation of the island. And we were able to listen the drivers across the whole island. By listening that, and this is something that I want you to do and become another beautiful resources that ham radio can do. By listening the road conditions, the condition of the impact, what are things that are wrong or what is working. That is vital information. So we make an assessment of the road conditions, the level of the damage all over Puerto Rico, and the needs of the materials that they need this infrastructure. So you will see reports of this kind. And from Monacello Control and the DRO from the Red Cross here, where I was, and I let Monacello Control be handling as a net control. Why? I think everybody has their hands full. So let's work as a team. Let's respect people. And we were using only one frequency. No repeaters were available. Guess which frequency we were using in case of an emergency that you have no communications.
146.52.
Exactly. Everybody knows about it. I don't have to state it. I don't have to say it. I'll be monitoring 146.52. Can you imagine listening to that frequency, the police department center talking to other police stations? That happens. And I heard it. And with all these, and you can see it's all over the island, technical plazas, we were able to communicate, and just by listening them from Vieques, Culebra, and all these yellow and magenta triangles, getting information across the whole island, we were able to make an assessment of the island within a couple hours. So be aware that this is very important information, vital information, so you can get help. Next day, the Red Cross went to the very first meeting of emergency management that FEMA was there, that they were the emergency management of the governor itself, and that was a big meeting, right? They asked the governor, well, make an assessment of the island. It's impact, but give us information. No map. So that was the map, and I got invited to the GFO because they said how you can get this map, and they find out that everybody concurred that they were having valid situation. Closed and blocked roads and bridges broken. So they say, ham radio. FEMA knows about ham radio. Who is this guy? So I got invited, so I brought my team there. So from the catastrophic event, it's a nice pole right on the center of the, supposed to fit here, right? I brought these kind of pictures just sort of to relax you about things that happened. Still standing. And was through the assessment of the whole island and having McDonald's closed, that's a symbol. But every restaurant closed. Supermarket closed. Having lines of people trying to get gasoline, that they found a rotten gas station that it had a generator. How much gasoline, how much time these stations will have gasoline available?
Maybe a day.
Exactly. One day. And you take 5 gallons for your house and you use it in your generator that drinks 5 gallons per night, you need gasoline tomorrow. At least the price of the gasoline was frozen. And that was, but if you needed propane gas, that it was about $180 to $200 per tank. Wait, that's normal. That's normal. No, you want it? I only have one. It's $1,000 now. That's normal. Whoever have a tank of propane that's about the price of a standard. I mean, it's not a small one.
Yeah,
It's big. Yeah. And this is my station. My tower survived. My 70 and antennas all bended and things like that, and getting all kind of leaves and branches. And my antenna, this is what is left. But my dipole, it is this one that is still standing. I told you how I survived. I sent an email to the ARRL, and I didn't know that the ARRL never had deployed before. But I thought that this is common stuff. It's common sense. And I get into trouble, and then I say, oh, I'm going to get fired from this one. Right, Joe?
No.
So what I did, I asked for everything. Operators, generators, go kits, and I believe that we're getting a few go kits into Hawaii.
Yeah, we request for Lane. We requested 7 kits, with 3 coming onto the Big Island, 2 to Oahu, and Maui, and Kauai. They're HF kits with windling capability.
And in the islands is available a number of factor 4 to increase the capability. Depends on the situation. That would help to transfer the data to the proper authorities using the same technology, just faster in HF. Also, these kits are very important because it's going to be left here during the hurricane season. But if your radio is taken out of your shack and you put it into the shelter or the Red Cross or the hospital, when you leave, please leave the antenna. It's okay that you take your radio. The next operator will bring his radio. But now you have an official station where you're not worried that your transceiver is going to get lost. And do you have the capability to do WinLink? I'm stressing that. Do the exercise. WinLink is an HF email. It can work with HF, it can work in VHF, and this is very important. And it contains the ICS form for FEMA And all the forms required for every agency is available. It's already on the table, including the Red Cross. And if you have 5 to 6 people to take care, send the message to the Red Cross. You need insulin? The Red Cross will bring you insulin for you for a week. You need more, you ask for it properly. Hey, I'm 2 days of leftovers, and you will get more. But FEMA will not deliver insulin for you only. It will deliver insulin for 100, 500 people in the hospital. But depends, so you learn to play now where to send the message. You have respiratory problem, you need an oxygen tank, you need a solar generator to bring up your respiratory system at home or your oxygen concentrator. You will get it from the Red Cross. Be careful, because on the first 3, 4, 5 weeks, we were selling only hope. There was nothing to give you. And I get to know that information because I was sitting, listening on the reality. But you need to make an assessment, because then the response from the helpers are going to grow. And they're coming. For sure they're coming. But it's not today or tomorrow. It would take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you know that. I mean, everybody here is mature enough to understand that. So that's the reason that you have to consider yourself to have enough materials for the proper time if an event, so you have time now to prepare again.